I always get embarrassed seeing that stuff.
Well, g'day guys. Welcome to the Comics to Movies and More live YouTube stream. We are extremely grateful to have...
What are you laughing at?
I have another video running in the background in my ear because I didn't turn off the video when I should have. So, but I'm the only one that can hear it, so that's all.
Fantastic, fantastic. Hopefully, it's nothing that's going to distract you the entire time.
I know to do the grand introduction that I'd been practicing all night last night, but no. Thank you, Dan, very much for coming on our show. We're here to talk about Spartacus, to talk about creative conviction, and we really appreciate your time. We've got a bunch of people live with us. You can comment, add questions into the chat function, and we have a couple of giveaways that we're going to do if you subscribe to our channel, and not to mention my co-host Stephen. Good morning to you as well.
He's muted.
He's muted. Oh, we're professional here.
This is going. Yeah, we're doing well. I muted myself I think 5 times just before we went live. So you're not the only one, dude.
Oh, bit embarrassing, but morning from down under, so I'm at the bottom today.
So yeah, so 6 a.m. It is here. So we've done a live stream last night, so we're a little worse for wear this morning, but excited to get in and chat with you, mate. So
no, thanks very much for having me, man. I greatly appreciate it. It's it's good to always chat with good people.
Thank you very much, mate.
You're
build me up.
Build me up, Buttercup. Doing it.
The Smiling Assassin, where does that come from? Because that was not the name I was expecting to pop up on the screen.
When I had to sign in, I was like, okay, what name do I want to show? And I was like, I could say my name, and then this just popped in my head. It's back when I played rugby league and rugby union. I played rugby league for East's Rugby League in Brisbane, and union for my school. My nickname was the Smiling Assassin because obviously I would smile all the time, and I was a skinny kid. I was somewhat fast, but I had really strong shoulders, and I was able to hit. That was my thing. I was able to hit hard and bring down people that were twice my size and stuff like that. So I was like an assassin. I think the nickname came one time during rugby where I tackled 4 or 5 people in a row. And so the coach at the time called me the Smiling Assassin. I think I won an award. It was called the Smiling Assassin Award. And so that's where it came from. So
nice. I like that. I'll put that up, your name up, just in case people didn't realize that it was actually
my actual name is the Smiling Assassin. I went to Depot. I changed my name. So
do you know how many times I double checked the spelling? How often do people get the spelling of your name wrong?
More than once. I'd say about 90. I mean, I want to say 100% of the time, but I'd say like 98, 99% of the time. It's always an E left out. The U sometimes is, and this could just be do with my writing or something like that. The U becomes a V. Like they'll think the U is a V, but most of the time it's an E is missed or it's AL at the end. So yeah, ever since I was ever since I was born. I remember being at primary school at Villanova College, and we started grade 5, and of course we're in the common area, and the teachers were all announcing our names, and we'd stand up and go hi, and it was so and so. Then Daniel, and I'm like, yeah, that's me. So I was I think 12 or something at the time, but I knew exactly yeah, that's me.
I have to admit, I'm that bad that my Google now autofills your name.
That's okay. That's okay.
So, and the thing is,
I have no idea what any of my passwords are.
I don't even have to type in your last name. I just have to type in Dan.
Dan
And
Feuerriegel.
it comes
Well,
up.
good. I'm glad.
So,
At least we know he's stalking you, Dan.
Yeah, no, that's fine. Like, I mean, I prefer, if anyone's going to stalk me, it's got to be Sean.
oh, come on. That is so
No, I
true.
mean, like, I'm glad if I'm going to be stalked, I'm glad it's you. That's what I meant.
Thank you.
That's what I meant. And your different hats.
Thank you. I was speaking to Dan before the show that I've been wearing a different hat for the 8 episodes before this one, but and I'm waiting for someone to make a comment, but no one had made a comment. So thank you very much, mate. I appreciate that.
You're more than welcome. That's for your effort of trying to spell my name.
So we met through the convention scene at in France. So that's how we initially met up. I was or am still a fan of the Spartacus Star series, and you know, I was always interested in acting, and my comic book myself is all based around Spartacus. Now during this COVID-19 time, how are you holding up, and how are you going with you know, being stuck indoors and not being able to do what you would usually do?
It's been interesting. I like, funnily, one of the things that I definitely think has helped me get all the way through is I've been doing a lot of like, I started meditating at the beginning of the year, and it's been phenomenal because you just kind of do your best to disappear for an hour or hour and a half, however long you want to do it. And it's been all about just kind of like retraining your brain and like trying to see the light at the end of the tunnel and the positivity and all that sort of stuff. And it's been really, really good. Of course, you have your ups and downs, and you know, you're changing a whole lifetime of the way you think, but that's been really, really good. And another thing, it's given me more time to be creative. And so I've been doing dumb sketches on Instagram. I've been writing. I've just, you know, I'm starting a side business. Just ideas have been coming to me, and or people have been suggesting things, and I'll just go, okay, hell, I'll go do it. And I think this time to myself has kind of helped me pursue those kinds of things. In regards to acting, like, everything's pretty much shut down, but you know, every now and then we'll have self-tapes that we'll need to do, and I love doing self-tapes. I coach and I tape actors as well, and it's my favorite thing. I prefer that than going in a room. And I think that the self-taping element of the acting world is going to become much more commonplace than necessarily going in the room because of the virus and everything like that. So that's everything that I've been doing.
That's really good, because I was going to say, when just like, if you're an actor, if you're an artist, if you're a writer, just because COVID-19 hits doesn't mean that creativity stops. And it's really interesting to see some people power through that and use it for other means. Like, you know, you're saying you're creating a new business, you're using your creative mind for different things, and where it kind of stalls some people, where they're not able to kind of get past that, and they're still kind of clinging on to, you know, what they always did, because you know, with all the conventions not being on, it's kind of hard for us to keep going to conventions, you know, you doing signings and stuff like that when they're just not happening, type of thing.
No, totally. Like, it's very hard to kind of all of a sudden things change like that, and you're like, whoa, everything I've been doing for the past 10, 15 years has completely changed. And then you've got people who just so happen to be doing particular things, and then the environment that has just been created, what they are doing is perfect for the environment. So these kinds of things, like online things, this and this, all of a sudden rises to the top. And I guess if you want to go in, you know, get into like evolution, like the Darwinian thing of it's survival of the fittest, and it's not necessarily survival of the strongest. It's those who like adaptation. you adapt or die. And that I've heard that so many times in regards to creative things, like in musicians and stuff like that. They're like, if you just stick to the same thing, it kind of mellows out. But I think everybody, like, especially with the technology we have today, like, everybody has the faculties to be able to be as creative as they possibly can. And it's just a matter of starting it up, just powering through the fear, powering through like your environment of that. You know, some people kind of go, oh, I don't know how I'm going to get that. Like, I don't know how to do it. And instead of just taking it, you know, baby steps at a time, and then just really committing to things and not letting outside voices kind of go, you can't do this, you suck, and what are you doing? That person's more this, that person. You just have to kind of, you know, create your own future in your mind and just pursue that and have absolute faith that you'll get there. Otherwise, like, that's why I'm still doing the acting thing. Like, what's the point of doing acting if you're like, no, I'm going to give it 3 years? Like, why do it then? If you're not committed to like knowing that you'll get there, you don't know when and where and how and why, but you'll get there if you truly believe. And that's what I believe. You know, other people they have different attitudes, but that's what I think.
No, that's good.
And I was saying that earlier that you know, comics and acting or the entertainment industry kind of sometimes go hand in hand in regards to, you know, when I first started out, a lot of people said, well, why do you want to get into comics? You know, there's no money in comics, and, you know, you can't do it. No one from Australia can do it, and all those negative things. And it is, you know, you've got to have some sort of resilience in yourself to be able to go, well, this is what I want to do, this is what I enjoy, and continue to move forward with that type of thing, rather than, as you said, like, listen to what people, you know, continually say and say what you can't do type of thing. And I think that's the difference between someone that has a successful career and someone that you know, gives it that 3 years and then you never hear of them again type of thing.
Yeah, I mean, like, nobody knew you could run a mile in 4 minutes for a while, and then somebody did it, and then all of a sudden everyone's like, oh, you can do this, and then
everybody started doing it as well.
Yeah, exactly. And like, there are so many you know, so many things that people will commit to and go against the grain, and then all of a sudden it becomes the norm, or it just creates a new kind of thing. And I think that's the beauty of the creative mind. And yeah, I think it's the best attitude to have, is just you keep going, and it's absolute faith in yourself, and just getting rid of the outside noise, because the outside noise, I mean, I'm guilty of this my whole life, letting the outside environment and letting other people determine my self-worth and determine my abilities and determine what I can and cannot achieve. And it's just not good for you. You need to have absolute faith in yourself, and it's hard. It's absolutely hard, because we're brought up to view life a particular way, and you need to break down that kind of perception of oh, it's outside determines our self-worth, rather than you just kind of going, you know what, I am worthy, I love myself, let's keep going.
It's interesting that you know, you've got some really beautiful nieces. I've got a little girl myself who's 3, and it's really interesting how at such a young age they start using those words, I can't. And, you know, one thing that I trying to instill in my little girl straight away is that I said, don't say I can't. You either try or you ask for help, because you can do anything. You just need to be either shown how to do it, or you need help to do it. But don't ever say I can't. And it's quite interesting, because she's only 3. That might sound, you know, a bit harsh or whatever, but I want to get her out of that habit that her first reaction is, oh, I can't do that, and start getting flustered or frustrated, and actually, you know, be able to do what she's putting her mind to.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I have read that, like, the first 6 years, like, a child is just an absolute sponge. And like they will take in things that you don't even know that like you're giving them. And so like doing that kind of stuff is like, no, it's not that you're telling them like they can do anything, but of course there are some things that it's like, all right, not right now. But just shifting that attitude of like, I can do that, but there just has to be other ways of doing it. And rather than like, oh, I can't do that right now. And it's, you know, it's just shifting their perspective. And then like, as they grow up, they'll have that perspective and kind of face problems as well. I've also heard people talk, I think it was like psychologists and stuff like that, talking about how like kids are such sponges that they get emotional about things like super quickly, and they take in things emotionally. And if something bad comes their way and they take it in emotionally, you try and teach them to not hold on to that emotion for a very long time. Like try and shorten their emotion. Like if they go, oh, like something really horrific happens, like try and get them to be like, oh, okay, and then kind of let it go, rather than like holding it and then determining what they think of themselves because of that event and stuff like that. And I mean, I'm probably not explaining it very well, but that's kind of
no, that makes perfect sense. It's I think that's what they call. Have you heard the theory on how people react? There's the blue, green, and red. Red is emotional. Blue is the I think the calming. So if something bad happens, the first thing you want to do is calm the situation down. And I think the green is logical. So when people react, they react in one of those three ways. And it's usually, you go through a cycle. Then people can be green, red, or blue. And you're trying to teach people to not go the red all the time. Sometimes you can react to emotion. That's fine. But if you can react with green as much as you can at least try to fix the problem.
Yeah, no, definitely. And the whole red reaction is sometimes very necessary, because it like if something kind of bad is happening, you need to like, whoa, and get the hell out of there or fight or whatever it is. But then after it happens, like just like in the animal kingdom, if a tiger chases an antelope or a deer, they're in flight mode and they're like, everything's pumping, it's red. But then as soon as they escape, I think after half an hour, everything kind of calms back down, and then they go, oh, okay, and then go about their life, and like nothing's ever happened. Of course, they're more aware of the danger when it comes around, but they're not going to like constantly relive it in their mind like humans do. And so they're constantly kind of putting themselves in that emotional state constantly. And I think that's what it means by having a child to go, nope, I admit, like, yep, that's fine. Why did it hurt you? Oh, because of this and all that sort of stuff. Okay, cool. Let's work on just letting it go, and it's all right. And then kind of moving on rather than harping on it. And that's, you know, the interesting things that I've been reading. And this is a lot of stuff I've been doing in quarantine as well. I have all the time to read and watch videos and all that sort of
awesome.
stuff. Yeah, it's fun. It's fun stuff to do.
Do you want to pick a couple of questions, Sean? Like from the audience? Let's pick a couple up. And I know a lot of people have been posting. Look, firstly, apologies if we don't get to your question today. We've got Dan for about an hour. We'll try our best to make it through. So let's just pick up a couple of questions from the chat.
Perfect. I was going to say that this year was supposed to be the 10-year reunion for Spartacus, because I know that France was going to do the reunion, and I was trying to organise something down here in Australia, but due to this COVID-19, that's kind of thrown spanner in the works. But I did see that you did a live stream for the Paris convention. How did that?
It went really well. Like, one thing I kicked myself on, I think about 4 or 5 years ago, I was like, oh man, online conventions would be really cool. And I had the idea. I think I told Liam about it, and he was like, oh, that's really cool. And then I just left it. That was it. And now I'm kind of like, oh man, if I had you know, once again, back then you come up with this idea, and then you're like, oh, if you could kind of create it and build it. I mean, I'm sure back then, was there online conventions back then, like 4 or 5 years ago?
No, not really. No.
Yeah, because
No.
I guess it was the height of everybody going in there. And I just thought, what would be good to do where everybody from around the world can actually come to you rather than like having to be in specific areas. And I had that idea, but I just didn't pursue it. And I think that's a perfect example of having that inspiration, but then kind of like thinking that I wouldn't be able to do it, or it's too hard, or not seeing how you would kind of do it. So there's a cat coming and like saying, "Oh." But then I just went to the Paris people and I said, hey, let's do this. And they thought it was a really cool idea. It was just at the beginning of, I think, of other conventions or something doing it. And it was a lot of fun. It was great to chat to people. It's like super easy, I think, for virtually everybody involved. And I'm looking forward to doing another one at some point. And I do think Paris is still going ahead. As far as I'm aware.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, we'll
cool.
see how it goes. We'll see how the environment changes, but I think they're still quite optimistic.
Always get super bummed when I can't go to that convention. I always love that.
Well, it's
convention.
Paris. You get to go to Paris. It's great.
Here's our first question. Agron survives. What do you think he's doing after Spartacus is gone?
I think he's just chilling. He's chilling with Nazir. I did hear like historically people did escape and I think went up a mountain or something like that, and then Caesar actually tracked them down and killed them all. So but we won't go with that. Let's just say Agron, Nazir, everybody, they're on a goat farm. They are just enjoying life. I'm sure they have to kind of keep looking over their shoulder, but I'd like to think that, the Romans are like, all right, we got what we wanted. Let's just go and live our life. And, the rebels kind of went off and did their thing. So that's what I think.
I always like to think that you went back and trained the Germans, because the Rome never overtook Germany. They only ever got to the river Rhine and were always pushed back by the nomadic barbarians there until they overtook Romans and eventually sacked Rome. So I always like to think that you went back there, you trained them all up. You didn't get to see Rome, but you played a part in the downfall of Rome. So that's what I'm sticking to.
That story sounds better. That story sounds better. So we'll go with that one.
Okay.
You should write the next season, Sean. It looks like you've got it all plotted out already.
Yeah, I've probably spent far too much time thinking about this, but yeah. What is your favorite film genre to work in? And hi from the UK. Thanks for the shout out to my wife Claire yesterday.
Dwayne, you're welcome, buddy. My favorite film genre to work in. That's kind of. I love working in comedy, but some of my favorite films, like a movie like Seven or something kind of David Finchery, like that kind of eerie kind of thriller. I love those. I'd love to be in a really well-made horror film. I've always wanted to work with Rob Zombie. I think he'd be really kind of cool. But yeah, I'm not too locked into whatever genre I have to work in. A good film is a good film, regardless of what genre it is. But historical, horror, thriller, comedy, action, that kind of stuff. I think that'd be all great. Yeah.
I saw you did some work in Pacific Rim. That's action and sci-fi. Do you enjoy that genre as well?
Yeah, absolutely. It was a lot of fun. I mean, it was only a tiny little role in Pacific Rim, but it was so much fun just getting on set, just seeing the massive scope of it. I was a helicopter pilot, and they had half a helicopter built on these massive kind of gas kind of platform things that would shake it and move it around. You got in the helicopter and you pretend you're flying around and all that sort of stuff. And it was just a lot of fun. And you realize as well, a lot of those films, it's so much about the camera and what world they create rather than the acting, I want to say, because it's so big that it's all like all the other components play such a massive role to make it work. Like you'll shoot a scene and you'll be literally just going, hey, how are you? And that's it. And then they'll move the cameras around and all that sort of stuff. And then you'll kind of move on to a next part of the scene. And so it's very fragmented. If you've seen any behind the scenes footage of, like, say, Thor Ragnarok, and you'll see like Chris Hemsworth does this one move or this one thing, and then that's it. And then they move on to another. And so it's so fragmented. It's not theatrical in a way of like, where you get to do a whole scene, like just play out like on the stage. It's very, very fragmented. I mean, of course, there are scenes where they let it play and stuff like that, but because it's so epic and so all about the shots and everything like that, it's all fragmented, and you just do what you do. If that makes any sense.
Would you ever play a villain? I reckon you'd make a really good villain.
Yes. I've played a villain before. Back in Australia, I think it was McLeod's Daughters. I played like the villain. I mean, NCIS. I recently did. I was a villain on that. And what else? Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. I was the villain.
Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Let's see. I played quite a few villains, and I love playing the villain. I would love to do something where I get to be like so different, like, the Joker or something. I don't want to play the Joker because I'm like, no, I'm not competing against Joaquin or Heath. Back. I'm not competing against, any of those people because I'm not. No, I would rather create something on my own that hasn't been done before and just have at it. Like something like that would just be so much fun.
Yeah, I think that's the good thing with comics and graphic novels at the moment is so much stuff is being transformed into series and into movies, but and also people are shifting their focus of thinking that comic books and graphic novels just have to be superhero shows, and that's not the case at all. You look at Lucifer, you look at the Umbrella Academy, you look at the movie Extraction from with Chris Hemsworth.
Was that a graphic novel?
Yep. Yeah. So that was So that was a graphic novel first. So, and that's a lot of the reaction people get. They actually don't realize that a lot of this stuff works really well in a graphic novel format, and then gets in your lap.
No, that's kind of cool. Like, I remember back when I was younger, just after Tim Burton's Batman came out, and they released a graphic novel of the movie. And I just thought that was the coolest thing in the world. I just remember watching it, like having a look at it. I was like, oh man, like I remember being in school and just like, oh, that's just like the coolest thing ever. And you'd read through it. Oh, that's from the movie. Oh, that's from the movie. That's from the movie. And all that. And I just love that kind of, I do love the darker things when it comes to things creative like that. Like I just started watching a little bit. I can't remember if it was late 90s or early 2000s, the Spawn TV series, the cartoon. And I just love that badass darkness kind of stuff. It's really kind of cool. Yeah.
Have you thought about going into writing a little bit? Like I know you've got some. You mentioned you want to use your creativity. Have you thought about writing maybe say a screenplay or a graphic novel or anything like that?
I've actually written a couple of screenplays. I've got one which is being kind of looked at the moment. And then another one I wrote back in 2006, which I reread, and I was like, whoa. Like it was a 25-year-old, 26-year-old guy who was in love with the movie Seven and David Fincher, and it's just so dark and like it's so graphic, and I'm like, oh man. So I've reread that, and I'd love to rework that. I want to write a horror film. I've got ideas on my head. There's so many ideas. And so I've just focused on the one script at the moment that I've got a friend who is really, good in those particular areas is having a look at that, and we're looking at actually pitching that and getting that made, which is really cool. So
That's awesome.
yeah, there's I mean, it's something completely not what you would think.
Is it a rom-com?
I'm going to keep it all under wraps until everything kind of happens. But, it was just a fun thing to do. It's fun being creative that way. Like at first, because it's not really me, it's hard for me to sit down and kind of like and all that sort of stuff, and then all the structure and this and that and all that sort of stuff. There are a lot of people who've been doing that the whole life who are just phenomenally better, and it's ingrained in their mind of how to create a screenplay. That's why I got my friend to have a look at it. But just in regards to like, I can see it in my head and the how I want it to go and the acting and all that sort of stuff. And it's just the translating it down is the hard part, because I would like write out all these things and then they would go, you only need to write that. So it is a lot of fun, and especially at the end where I'm like, whoa, I just wrote 105 pages. And you go over it and you're like, oh, that works, that doesn't, that works, that's really cool. And it's really exciting to see something that you created kind of come to fruition in a way. I get the same feeling whenever I tape and coach actors. You've got the screen up there and you're taping the actors and you're like, okay, do this and do this. And you're kind of like a director. I do enjoy doing that stuff as well. So I do know in time, like I will direct things. And I'll write things, I'll get things made, and it's going to be, I'm really excited about all that sort of fun stuff. It's just fun creating something. I really
that's awesome. I do a similar thing. I totally over the script when I write, and Stephen is the one that puts it actually into the script that's eligible and able to read and everything and send off. So it's kind of interesting that I always see things kind of like in movies, like almost like in as you were saying, like how I would see it if I was watching a movie rather than how I would write a book type of thing. So
yeah, no, I'm exactly the same. I write too much because I kind of, I think writing, you're supposed to just get the skeleton. You get, this is kind of what I want to portray, and then the person that reads it, the director, then it's their creativity then goes on top of that. So if you kind of spell it all out, I think you're kind of like going, the director's like, all right, well, he's kind of telling exactly what he wants, or you're writing like the actor reacts this way, or the character reacts this way or this way, instead of leaving it up to the actor to kind of create the world as well. So I think you need to create the bare bones, definitely go, this is the story I want to tell, and then you then give it off and it becomes somebody else's baby, and then they get all these people to come involved and get creative, and then it becomes this whole creative ensemble, which I think is what it is, rather than you creating everything in that one kind of script. And I think we spoke about this offline, Sean. Like, I definitely want to do some graphic novel stuff. I've got some dark ideas that I'm like, screw it, let's do it.
I've still got that one that we talked about.
Yeah,
I've even got the Dropbox where it says Sean-Dan, and it's got the untitled script in there. So
well, I mean, let's go for it.
I've got a few more. Yeah, that's it. I've got a few more questions here. I know a lot of the Spartacus boys are into gaming. So have you ever thought about doing a gaming channel with Spartacus and Caesar?
I mean, because I know that they do that. I don't really play video games, but I remember when we did the charity event for the bushfires in the beginning of the year, and just, it's such a cool community, and just everybody came together, and just how, just at least from what my experience, how lovely everybody was and how they all came together. Yeah, I guess I would be, I don't, at this particular point in time, I don't know what I would contribute to it, except I guess it's just being me playing a video game. You know what I mean? Like I don't really play them. I play FIFA, I play NBA, I play Madden. I play kind of sporting games and things like that. But
I would like to hear a bloke from Australia play a video game and be talking while he's playing a video game, mate. I think that would be amazing.
G'day,
Especially
guys.
if you
How you
played the
going?
Broncos and played rugby.
And I'm terrible at them. So I'd be like, oh, I died. Oh, I died again. Oh, I died again. Oh, wow, this is so exciting. Everybody watching this. I mean, I guess, like, not that I'm saying it anywhere near his level yet. But like, say, if Chris Hemsworth started a video game channel, people would just want to watch Chris Hemsworth play video games. Yep. And so I think if I was going to do something, it would be kind of like me and my friends just come over and we'd drink and just get drunk and, or like, you know, not necessarily get blackout drunk or anything, but just have a few drinks and just chat. And that, I guess that can be kind of like, isn't that like a podcast anyway? These online video game things are just kind of like podcasts.
Yeah, true.
Like they just talk about people. And I don't know. I haven't really thought about it, but I mean, at this point in time, why the hell not?
Yeah, I think the best ones are those natural ones that are just you know, I know that you do the podcasts as well, your own podcasts, and those flow of conversations where nothing is scripted and it really is just a group of people speaking in a room and talking to each other as if they're mates and friends and all that. The conversation and that seems to evolve naturally and seems to be much more interesting than when you get a question and go, oh, and Dan, and what did you do on Friday night at 11 o'clock? And it's like, well, yeah.
Oh, you don't want to know.
Okay, that was probably a better question than I thought.
I was lonely. Leave me alone.
I've got another one here. I like this one. What is your favorite bit of dialogue from a show?
Oh, I'm assuming Spartacus.
Well, it could be any. It doesn't say.
Oh man, I mean Spartacus. Agron has so many good lines. I mean, you can't go past like, you know, fucking Gauls, fuck the god. I think I say the C word one time. I can't remember what the dialogue was. I mean, of course, a really iconic one that people like is the very last line that I deliver, like Rome shall fade and crumble, but you will always be remembered. Like that was kind of cool that I actually, you know, was a part of something that people quote. What Agron says to Nazir, what was it? I would kill like anyone that tries to wrest you from my arms or something like that. Of course, I'm not saying them correctly, but all those lines are really kind of really cool. I mean, in Pacific Rim, I got to improvise while I was crashing. That was fun. Like, you know, we get and all that sort of stuff, and you can kind of hear it in the background. If anyone has no idea, Pacific Rim Uprising, I'm the helicopter pilot that is flying, I think, Mako. And
your whole head
I've
covered.
got my like I got there, and so I originally auditioned for the role that Dustin ended up getting, and then like Steven just emailed me and said, hey dude, I've got this role, you want to do it? I'm like, yeah, sure. And so, you know, we went to Australia and it was like 2 days of filming, and then 1 day of filming here, and I got the costume and then they gave me the helmet. I'm like, oh man, no one's going to know it's me.
It's the distinct voice, but that's the thing that I noticed straight away. Because you would kind of teased it, but didn't say exactly who you were. And I was watching the film and I was like, man, I can't see him. There's Dustin. I'm like, yeah, okay, you know, type of thing. And then it was just that line of dialogue. And I'm like, there he is. Oh,
there he is. Well, because myself, Katrina, a couple of other people went and saw it, and afterwards I was like, oh yeah, really good. And they're like, were you this character? I was like, guys, I was that one. And they're like, oh, I didn't even know. I was like, because they thought I was somebody else, and I said, no, I was a helicopter pilot and all that. And I was like, oh, you guys suck.
It's funny that you just started swearing, because that was the next comment that came up. Dan Gaming would probably need to be bleeped out more than his Australian bloke making videos.
Look, I'm generally very I don't want to say well-spoken, but I watch what I say in regards to swearing. But when I'm around my Australian friends, when I'm with my family, it just, I don't know, there's just this kind of relaxation. And all of a sudden I just, start fucking saying stuff like this, bloody hell and shit and fucking, and I think it's a very, very Aussie kind of, same thing. If you're in the pub, you're just talking and chatting and all that sort of stuff. So yeah, probably that is probably a very astute observation that I would probably swear an absolute ton while playing video games, especially if I'm losing the game or I'm having a few drinks with some friends or something like that. So yeah, but I'm definitely I'll look into it now. I don't know what I would play because I don't really play video games. And if I want to play games, I want to be good at it. And if I'm just playing it and like just sucking, I'll be like, why are you even watching me, guys?
It's so funny because I'm not that good of a gamer either, but one of my mates is a pretty good gamer, and he'll be like, "Oh, come play a co-op game for me, blah blah." But then he just bags me the whole time while we're talking. I was like, "This is no fun."
And does he get angry at you, like, "Dude, you're not doing this, you're not doing that, you're getting me killed, god damn you!" And you're like, "Sorry, man, sorry."
So,
this is not exciting.
It's very early here in the morning, and I've got my little girls decided to come and say good morning. So
did we wake you up? Usually
she's like, "Daddy, what are you doing in the middle of the night?"
It is the middle of the night.
You go to grandma, okay? I love you.
See, at least yours stays up. Mine's probably still. I've got a daughter. She's not coming up. She's still asleep. It's her first day back at school today, so she's not getting up.
Yeah, she's an early bird. My mum's staying with us at the moment, and my dad because of the lockdown here, and my parents are not night owls, but they stay up a little bit later and that. But my little one's been getting them up, my mum up at between 20 to 6 and 6:30 every single morning. And we're like to come into us and wake us up and let grandma and granddad sleep. And then, the next morning she's like, "Oh, well, no, I wanted to see grandma."
Oh, man. It reminds me of what my dad used to say to me. I mean, they might be watching this live stream right now. So, like,
hi, Mum and Dad.
Hi, Mum and Dad. How are you? I hope you're enjoying your anniversary trip away. So, Dad would always open the door, and it's before school. And he goes, "Boys," or like, "Dan, it's currently 6 a.m. Now I need you to get up and I need you to get ready and I need you to be good because I don't want you to stress your mother." And it would always, you'd be just lying there going, "Oh," and sometimes he'll come in and throw water on us. And I don't know about you guys. What alarm, this just popped in my head. What alarm sound did you have to get up for school? Did you have an alarm sound?
Yes. Just an alarm clock. Just a normal alarm clock that rings. The bell ones?
The bell. Okay, so you had a bell one. I had one that, it was a digital that goes, neat, 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 neat. So I had that. Every time I hear that, if it's in a movie, television show, or anywhere, I get this kind of internal, like, oh, because it just reminds me of getting up early when I didn't want to get up and go to school. It has such a deep, profound reaction to me whenever I hear that sound. It's crazy.
Everyone hates me in the family because I can jump out of bed. I'll be like, "Good morning, how is everyone? How you doing today, blah, blah, blah." And they're like, "It's 6 a.m. I'm going to fucking kill you."
That's good. I love that attitude. That's what I'm working on. I want to get up. I'm like, let's have fun. Let's enjoy the day. I'm grateful to be here.
So
that's super tired. And you're like,
yeah, that's why my little girl's pretty good as well. She gets up similar to me like that, which is good. So, but we've got I think I know the answer to this one, but I'm curious too. Do actors keep in touch after a show ends, or do you only become friends by then?
Everyone hates each other. I guess. I mean.
Because Spartacus guys are pretty close.
Both those elements, it's correct. Like, you'll keep in touch with people that you've bonded with on the show. There are other people that you don't keep in contact with. I think depending on the production, if you don't like the person, you're not going to keep, in contact or anything like that. Maybe in a professional setting, you'll be, professional and reasonable to each other. But I think generally you need to develop a bond with people, and then you just kind of continue on from there. And I've kept in touch with a lot of people, and then people get busy, and then you'll bump into them and go, "Oh my God, hi, how are you?" And it's like you've never left. So yeah, I mean, in any kind of industry, like acting job, like I think there's actors that, oh yeah, I haven't spoken to that person in 5 years, but we had such an amazing time on set. But everybody has their own lives and goes off and does this sort of stuff. But I've been able to maintain some really cool relationships with people, and
That's awesome.
yeah, so it's been really good.
And then I guess it opens up things like this. Like, I guess if you were never on the show, we would have never met. And you kind of, there's that flow-on effect of people that you meet and become friends with and all that type of stuff as well.
No, absolutely. And that's also, that goes along with the, like as I was saying, the comic book world and the video game world and stuff like that. Like, then you've got the convention world. And there's just something about each one of those worlds that just, everyone is kind of like, we all love this. Let's come together. And of course, there's competition. I'm sure there's egos and personalities and stuff like that play. But it's a really nice group of people because they're all celebrating the one thing. It's like a sporting team, I guess.
Yeah, true.
Yeah,
true. I've never heard this question before, and I've been to quite a few shows, so I like this one. Do you have your say in any of the Spartacus lines when actors feel like, okay, these lines are good, but I feel like my character would say this?
Let's see, Fitness Princess one. I think because it was so specific, I think we weren't really able to change the dialogue per se. But if we were kind of like, we don't feel like maybe this would happen, then we would have to communicate with, so yes, I guess we do have a say, but not as strong as what you would expect. Like, there are some, sometimes from the higher up, say like Stephen, for example, he'd say, no, you need to say this because we've got ideas like 3 episodes later that actually are important to what this dialogue is. Like, I know that there were times where characters would be like, I'm saying way too much. Can I give that line to this character and this line to this character? Because there was a lot of scenes where there was 5, 6, 7 of us, of the characters in the one scene, and a lot of us are just standing there being all like, just like the scene that you showed at the very, very beginning. And most of the time, like, for the whole time, Cynthia and I and like Vanessa and everybody else were just like going, yeah, raw, yeah. And so we're just standing there doing that and standing there for like hours and hours and hours, just going, ugh. And then I come out and say my line and all that sort of stuff. And I as I said, like, there are some scenes I've watched and I'm like, oh damn, what are you doing? I was so young. But we do have a say, but, there's a reason why, and especially with that type of dialogue, it's very specific dialogue. It's not like doing a movie where you're like, oh, can I just change this and say this instead? And it kind of means the same thing. There's a very specific, it's like you're not going to change Shakespeare. It's very specific. Not saying that Spartacus is equivalent to Shakespeare, but they were influenced by Shakespeare. So there's a particular kind of way that they want it said, and things like that. So we do have a say in like, what about this? Can we go in this direction? And then they will write it. I don't know how often that happened though.
Yeah,
I don't think anything for me happened. So
just before we get to that question, Sean actually has a couple of giveaways. and I was had a quick think about it. I think the easiest way to participate in giveaway is please sub to the channel. I will drop the Comics to Movies email in the chat after this, so only people in the chat will get to enter. And if you send an email to that email before the end of the live stream with the subject Dan-live stream, and then we'll do a draw on the next show. It will be a live draw, and we'll get them posted out. And since we will have your email, we'll reply to you with your address details.
Yes, that sounds awesome. We've got a couple of different signed items, so I've got a little
man. Look at him. He's so cute.
And then this is my favorite. I love this one. This is the
yes, that's some good stuff. Myself and the ever shredded Todd Lassance.
Need to get that on a t-shirt.
Oh, absolutely, man. Totally. Okay.
So we've got about 9 minutes left. So if you've got some questions, chuck them in the comments, and we'll try and get to as many as possible. Again, we will apologise to any that we don't get to. We thank Dan for the amount of time he's given us, but we do want to make sure that he's able to get to his next meeting. So next question we've got is, at what point of each year did you find out that Agron was going to still be alive?
So first season, I found out maybe like an episode before our character was supposed to die.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, maybe 1 or 2 episodes before, because they were deciding whether or not it was going to be myself or Duro. And then they went, we think this would be more powerful. Second season, I think I knew that I wasn't going to die. You kind of got told at the beginning. And then third season, it was a little bit not as certain, but I think all the way through, Steven wanted one person from the original season to live all the way through. And it was pretty much me. I mean, it was myself and Cynthia, who played Navia. Because historically, I think Gannicus died, Crixus died, Ellen wasn't in the first season, so it was only myself and myself, Crixus, and Navia were the only original. Spartacus, there's conjecture whether or not he was actually dead or not, but they wanted to kill him off, and so it ended up being me, because I didn't want Navia to be still living if Crixus dies, and Crixus died historically. So, but still, you just weren't sure. Like, there were people who I think got scripts and like, oh, I died. Okay, all right. So I think I knew maybe around about episode 7 that, yep, you're absolutely going through. But then they wanted to kind of throw off the scent by getting me crucified.
Nice, yeah. Because when I saw that, I was like, "Oh, there's no way you coming back from after that." And
arise from the dead, baby, arise from the dead.
I'm proud to say that I own that shield, so that's in my office. So that's just about to go up on the wall. I've had that for quite some time. So I'll next time I stream. Sorry,
you pay a pretty penny for that.
I did, just making sure my wife's not around before I admit how much I paid for that.
I think they made 17 of those shields. Is it the shield with the knife as well and all that
thanks
stuff?
for making me not feel special now.
No. The thing is, though, there were 17 of them, but they were all different. One was rubber, one was steel, one was real, one was this, and it all depended on, like, the rubber ones were the ones that were used for fighting, like if we're going to actually hit people. Another one was just to hold on to. Is yours like steel or heavy or?
So it's still really heavy, and it's got the leather strap on it, so it's quite heavy.
You got the one that I would use in most scenes that I didn't have to fight in.
Ah, okay, there we go.
So, and
that's interesting with the swords as well, because I've got a couple of those, and some of those were rubber and quite flexible. Some were like a foamy and a little bit harder.
Yeah.
And then you had the actual
Yeah, that was
steel
all
ones.
dependent, like, on the fighting and everything like that. And I mean, like, I'm totally jealous of you because I wanted that thing, and then I just somehow they sold them all, like, got rid of them before I even like had an attempt to kind of ask. And also, I was like, how the hell am I going to get through customs? So,
Oh yeah! Tell you what, it was very interesting shipping those swords to Paris to get you guys to sign
how
and
did you do
everything.
that?
So, well, look, they pulled them out, and then once they, because when it goes through it, they're like, "What the? You've got four swords in your bag. Who the hell is this guy?" And then they just pretty much take them out and go, "Okay, they're rubber," and then I'm like, be really careful. They're actually props.
Yeah.
Totally like that. But yeah, there was I had more trouble actually within Australia than I did internationally. So when a couple of you guys had did conventions over here, I actually had more issues going from Melbourne to Brisbane and Melbourne to Sydney than I did to into France. So which was kind of funny. So now, if you didn't play Agron, what character would have you played in Spartacus?
Well, let's see. I originally auditioned for Crixus.
Oh wow!
Yeah, back at like very beginning before they even started. I really like. I really like Asher. Once again, playing the villain, and he had like the best monologues and all that sort of stuff. I mean, it would have been cool playing Spartacus. Maybe play one of the Roman characters because you didn't have to you just shot for a week and then you got a week off. Because they didn't have to do any fighting. They didn't have to get dirtied up. They didn't have to get bloodied up. They didn't have to train 50 million times a day. And they just, they go into wardrobe and makeup and they throw on their robe. I mean, the girls, I think they had to take a while because they had to do their hair. But the guys are like, throw on a robe and then they're done. And then they talk. They just do a scene where they talk and then they're done. Whereas we're like, blah, 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 and then we'd have to, the next week that we're supposed to have off, we're all doing pickup shots of all the fight sequences and this and that because it's so complex. And so I guess Asher and Asher Spartacus and
I reckon you would have made a cool Caesar.
Yeah, let's go Caesar.
You would have made a cool Caesar.
Yeah, let's go Caesar. You're doing your job, bud.
Did your friendship with Nick Tarabay start before or after shooting?
Hello, Sandy. It developed during, and then afterwards it developed a lot more because we lived near each other and we're friends with all the same people and all that sort of stuff. So it just kind of developed there. Yeah. Yes.
So did you steal anything from the sets before you go though? I know,
don't admit to that. We better not.
I don't think they care. It's so long ago, and they're not going to go to war. Why you? I didn't steal anything. I know a few people stole some stuff.
That's the question.
There we go. I ended up getting Agron's necklace, but I somehow lost that. I don't know where it went. So one of the leather people made it for me. I think I had like one of his wristbands or something I think maybe that stuff's back in Australia, but I think that was it. I didn't steal anything. I mean, it would have been cool to just take the whole costume. That'd be cool. Just randomly dress up in the middle of the night. Look at me, I'm so tough.
I think the most randomest prop that I bought was I've got the rocks from Decimation.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
The ones that they throw at the character.
Yep. And I will admit that something that I might have taken without permission was some leaves from Bag End.
Oh.
So, but they'd fallen off. They were on the ground. So
nice. I love the industry. I love the world where you're like, I took some rocks. I took some rocks that they made to throw at someone. And that's like, you know what? That's some stuff. That's some stuff. Hello,
it is quite interesting when people look at the cabinet. I've got all my statues and stuff, and then they're like, "You have rocks."
You're like, yes,
rocks in there? Like...
they are my prized possession. Do not touch these rocks.
Well, we'll finish on one more question from Sandy. Will you be in the future any more Comic Cons in Europe?
Well, there's the Paris one in September. They're being very optimistic about that, and I'm sure there'll be plenty of conventions in Europe. I'd love to go to Germany. I'd love to do conventions anywhere in Europe, to be perfectly honest. And it's just a matter of right time, right place, right time. In being invited, being pitched, if they have room, budget. I definitely want to do more online conventions as things go along. Even when you can go to in-person conventions, I still want to do the online conventions because I think there's a lot of people around the world that don't get the opportunity to see people, and I think it'd be really good.
We'll have to tee something up then. I think we'll do an Oceania Spartacus reunion. So
yeah, absolutely.
But I just want to say thank you to everyone that came on and took some time out of their day to spend with us. We really appreciate it. Again, we apologise to those people that we didn't get to their questions. And Dan, of course, we thank you very much for your time. We understand that you're quite busy creatively and everything. So we look forward to seeing what else that you pop up on our screens with, but also what else you put out into the world. So
thank you very much
for your time.
No, thank you. I really appreciate it, Sean, Steve. Thanks very much. Everybody who's taken the time to watch, all of this stuff is for you people. So thank you so much. It's greatly appreciated, and much love to you all. Thank you very much.
Awesome. Everybody. Thanks so much, guys.
Thanks, guys. Take care of yourself.
Subscribe.
Yeah, subscribe.